yelena-ganshof, and I'm producer and host of Inside Tomorrow, and a founder of Rainbow and Viva. And today we're going to speak about the technology in intelligent lighting that helps reduce electricity costs and massively helps reduce carbon emissions. Our special guest is coming and joining us from Germany, Nicolas von Wilke. He is the CEO of Clear Lights. Nicola, welcome to live streaming episode of Inside Tomorrow.
Yelena, thank you so much that I can be here. Thank you so much that I can speak to your audience. I'm very happy, and we will see what we can do today for your audience.
Okay, audience can actually put comments. So their comments are their questions that we will try to grab and answer. Now, please tell us, why are you doing what you're doing? What is your mission in this project?
Oh, thank you, Yelena. This is a very uncommon question normally, so let me try to answer this in a very good way. I would say, most people are doing something, and when I ask them, what's your purpose? Why are you doing what you're doing? And then often it's sometimes hard that people say it. And so I went deeper in me, and I asked myself, and I'm doing what I'm doing because I want to inspire people now. And I mean, when we look at the world, how it is in today's time, I mean, this is a very special time today. It's we have this COVID thing, and we don't want to talk too much about today about COVID. We want to take a deeper look into how we make the world a better place, and nearly everybody can do. So my aim to
effect on the economy. But the question always here, how can we have both? The economy we're working and still we have more of the blue skies.
Yeah, very good. Very good consideration. I would say I'm very happy that the skies are getting bluer, and the pollution is going very much down. Even if this is on the other side a very tragic thing with this virus. But let's have a look. You asked me how can we do this, and I would say when we looked when we looked to the industries and to the logistics where we are mostly in, then we found out that they still using a lot of energy, a lot of carbon emissions are polluted or emitted, roughly 80 to 90% too much in a very specific field, which is the lighting. And lighting, normally most people don't look too much into lighting because they have their operations, if they produce something or they do their logistics, and light is always some kind of there. People don't think too much about it. But in lighting, we have a very big potential, which is roughly 90%, 95%, where we can reduce the consumption and the carbon emissions. Very easy, very simple when you understand that we are using 10 times too much energy in today's time, mostly in nearly every space all over the world in logistics and industry. So what we found out that roughly at 90% on all areas, there is nobody, there is no person. When you look at these super big logistic hubs and so, yes, there are people, but you have maybe 50,000 square meters and you have maybe 50 to 100 people working there, and they can't be anywhere in this warehouse. So what we did, we started 8 years ago to put in each and every lamp sensors, daylight sensors and movement sensors. And so to understand, the lights are only ramping up or are on where somebody is. That means in 90% on all areas, the lamps are dimming down, and on 5 to 10% where somebody is, a forklift or a person, the lights are ramping up to a specific or the required number or the lux level, the lighting level. And so with this, you save 90%. It's super easy to understand, and most people think, wow, is that really possible, saving 90%? And most people doubt it. We are talking to a lot of people, and we started to talk to the big brands. We are not doing it on the smaller ones because we want to have a big impact as possible. That means we are mostly talking to people who own lots of real estates, that we impact this industry and the world.
So that means that lights actually go on where a person goes, or a forklift, or any other device, right? So it's all sensitive to movement.
That's right. So at first you tell the lamps what they should do, how they should work, under which rules. That means how much light they should emit, how long should they run, as long as somebody's there, how long needs to dim down. And then the lamps tell you what they have done. And this is very important. It's a two-way communication. First, it's you tell them what they do, and after, when they have worked, they tell you what they have done. That means you get a lot of data, and you see this data on heat maps or on movement maps, which gives you a very good understanding what's going on in your building. You can do this in logistics, you can do this in industry, also in offices and in hotels, nearly everywhere. That means with this system or with this method, you can save nearly everywhere 90%. Let's say, something like 90% everywhere where you put normally lights on. And this is truly amazing.
So this is compared to the classical model of classical lights that, especially in the storage facility, they are like everywhere. You cannot be everywhere. Let's be honest, right? And I'm sure it's very labor intensive to turn off the lights where you are not. So you need to send people, or have the to how can I say, to see somewhere on a map who is where, so that you will turn off the lights in certain departments or divisions of that facility, production or storage facility. Uh,
I mean, it's fully automated. That means you don't have to think even about it. Once the installation is done, the lighting system operates fully automatically, and you don't have to worry if there's enough light or not. It's always exact the required lighting, which is, for example, 200 lux on the floor level. It's never 250, 300, 400, or 500. What we often see, we go into big warehouses and we see two things. There is very much too less light, too few light, or it's much too much. Because especially in new buildings where the people are using LED lighting, which is today's standard, then LED lighting is not that costly anymore as it was 10 years ago. So often companies put too much light in there. Instead of 200 lux, they put 300 or 400 because they want to be safe that they have always enough light. But when you put, instead of 200 the double amount, or 1.5 times more, that will cost you also a lot of money, and you emit too much carbon emissions. So the requirement is always from our side, you have always enough light as requested, let's say 200 lux, and when there's nobody, then it dims down. That you can dims down not to zero, but let's say to 10%, that you can see everything, even in the night. And as soon as you enter, lights are ramping up only where you are. That's it. And I always compare this to a pizza. For example, when you and me, we're going to a pizzeria, and we're ordering pizzas. And so you order one, I order one, and the waiter is coming after 15, 20 minutes, and he's bringing both of us 10 pizzas and 10 glasses of wine, each of us. What would you say? You would say, oh, this.
get wasted, right? This is,
I can't. Yeah, please.
Yeah, we can hardly consume all this. We're gonna get wasted. So it's a waste of resources, waste of electricity, for sure.
Yeah, and this is exactly, I mean, in the pizzeria, you understand it immediately. That's too much. But with lighting, the problem is that too much lighting does not hurt you, or you don't have to eat it. But what we found out, that nearly in all warehouses around the globe, 10 times too much consumption for lighting, electrical consumption for lighting is done or is being used, and 10 times too much carbon emissions. It's totally unnecessary.
Who are your clients? And if you have any specific case that of your system, we install the system and we save, I don't know, this much. Can you give us a concrete example?
Yes. First, I would like to say one of our customers, and as I said, we are often targeting the big guys because they own so much spaces. And the problem with the big brands is that they often have so many decision makers that the question is always, whom do I talk to if I want to offer? And this is the problem with innovation itself. How does innovation comes into a company like, let's say, Mercedes, Volkswagen, or Bosch or whatever? Whom do you talk to? And you must be really fortunate to talk to the right person. And I would like to talk, for example, the company Bosch or their daughter company, Bosch Siemens. They are the world's largest home appliances producer. We had the luck to talk to the right person. He picked up the phone. He said, "This is very interesting. Show me more." This was
Right.
very important. Then
So you got to the right person.
after some calls, I got to the right person. And then he said, "Let's have a meeting." I entered the meeting and there were sitting 8 people in front of me. I was the only one from our side. And these people were from different departments. It was finance, it was operations, it was controlling, it was, and so on and so on. And they said, "Okay, please present." I presented. And after 30 minutes, they said, "Okay, we have a lot of questions." And then we had a 2-hour questions round. Lots of questions came up. And after 2 hours, they said, "Wow, each and every question was answered. It's really good. Let's do it." So it was important that all the departments involved were there. They asked all their questions and everybody was there. And that this was the opening to implement it. And 6 months later, we had a big warehouse. And I brought this today because you asked me for a case study.
Yeah.
And I brought you some pictures. And it is one of the Bosch Siemens warehouses. And in numbers, and I don't know if you have the summary in front of you. So it was a nearly 50,000 square meter warehouse. The consumption, it was 30 to 40 years old. It was a rental building, so they did not own it. This is also something, if you own something, it's easy to invest. But if you rent it, often this makes it a bit more complicated. But we also have for this one a very good solution. So they had something like 250,000 euros in electrical spend per year. And we implemented electric intelligent lighting and reduced it down to 25,000 euros, which is a 90% reduction on the energy cost as well on the carbon emissions.
Mm-hmm.
And
How much your system costs to install all this? Because I'm sure it's one of the how can I say objection of the company, because they become comfortable and they used to their system and they say, why should I install a new system right now?
Very good question. I mean, we always aim for something like a 2 to 3 year ROI. That means your investment is paid back after 2 to 3 years. If you tell now numbers, it's always each and every warehouse is different, each and every requirement of the lighting levels and so on, the duration of the operation is different. So that's hard to say, but I would say 2 to 3 years is a very good ROI. And the speciality of the intelligent lighting is that the total cost of ownership, the life cycle cost, is extremely low. That means at first you have a slightly higher investment for the intelligent steering, because most of the people, they are looking, yes, they want to switch from conventional old lighting to LED, which is fine, but mostly they build in LED, which is on off. That means when you start the operations, you put it on everywhere at 100% of the areas, the lights switch on. And at the end of the shift or at the end of the day, they switch it off. Where we understood with the pizzas, it makes no sense, because you're wasting 90% of your money into electricity. So the next step is you built in some sensors, which is also nice. That means each and every aisle in the warehouse gets one sensor. That's okay. You save another 20%. But the next step is intelligent lighting. In each and every lamp, there is a sensor, presence and daylight. And as I said before, the light is going with the person or the forklift. And then you save 90%. That's it. So you asked me for the investment. We can say this per square meter. I mean, you have a slightly more higher investment. Sometimes it's 20, 30% to the on-off lighting, but it pays back so fast that when a financial analyst is looking to our calculations, they say, please build it in as possible, the intelligent steering. It's obvious. Yeah.
Now, also, they often in innovative technology, in new technology, you need to overcome certain objection. And is there any green investment incentive that the government, the policymaker is providing for those companies to say, it makes sense, yeah, maybe it's a tax incentive. What is the application in Germany? Anything exists on the green investment incentive?
Yeah, thank you for this one. It was there several years ago, or in infrastructural bad areas, so it's still there. It's in East Germany. We have one state where it's still some help or some tax programs for that, but normally the system itself pays back so fast. I mean, you often give this benefits to things or to moving technologies which come in and which have it a bit hard to get implemented. So in this time, there's no more money or tax reduction on these systems because they are already very, very economical.
Okay. I would say Europe is in front of many countries globally in terms of the renewable energy. We are over 34% sources of energy are coming from renewable, from solar, from wind, from hydro stations, biomass. While some other countries, I mean, even if you speak about US, it's still very heavily reliable on coal mines. In Austria, they just closed the last coal mine. Let's face it. So I think we're all working towards a green economy and more of the blue skies.
I mean, thank you for this. I mean, green economy, what does that mean? I mean, when we use renewables, that means it's coming from resources which are renewable instead of using fossil resources, which are ending at one certain point in the next 30, 40, 50 years, whatever. That means we strongly have to look at renewable energies. And I mean, the sun is always there. It's providing enough material. So we have to find the right ways. And this is what I said when I entered and spoke about my purpose, that we should not do it on a daily basis like our standard business. We always should aim to make the things better, to become more greener, to become more sustainable, because sustainability at the end will save our lives and our planet. I mean, you and me, when we speak about in the next 30 to 50 years, yes, the climate change, the global warming will harm our planet in a substantial way, then maybe when I'm now 54 years old, I would say, okay, in 40, 50 years, I mean, that's a long time. I will be very old. Maybe I'm not anymore here. But then I'm asking when I'm standing on stages, I ask the people in the audience, who of you have children? Can I see your hands, please? And then I see that 2/3 of the people have children. And then I say, listen, you decision makers, if we don't aim for a greener future, for renewable energies and intelligent lighting, then we should, because it's something which is so much in the future, then we have to do it for our children. I mean, the people who are now the human beings who are 5, 10, 20 years old, this is their time then in 30 to 50 years. So we always should look to something which makes the world a better place, that we reduce the energy consumption and the carbon emissions.
Absolutely. And I think that this confinement gave us again, kind of reminded us about the green economy and more of the blue skies. And I'm sure the environmentalists are going to come back stronger, saying, guys, did you enjoy the blue skies? Why don't we aim for it? And I think this is where the community is going to develop a longer term vision than just looking at the present moment and reaping the profits as of today. I think that we need to probably redirect the flow of energy that we produce from renewables into the right direction, I would say. If we can save on the storage facilities, as we save electricity bills at home, right? Turning off the lights. Oh, you're not in this room? Turn off the lights. We remind our family members. Oh, you're not in the TV room? Turn off the lights. Turn off your TV. I think it should apply also in businesses. And we will always need energy. With the development of artificial intelligence that is cracking lots of data and going to crack even more data, with the development of electric cars, planes, you name it, we will need more energy. And I think that it's better to take away, save energy here and redirect it in where the market requests it the most.
Let me give you one idea more. Most people whom I met and talked to, and I see that most people don't understand or don't know anything about climate change, or they even say it's maybe not there. And I would like to give you an idea in the audience here, that I see climate change is something which is majorly not happening too much here in Europe, but it's happening, let's say, in Africa, in the poor countries, in Asia, maybe in South Africa. And we already know that the very poor people, the extreme poor people, will be harmed the most. That means we here in the West or in the industrial nations, we emit the most carbon emissions, which is roughly 10 to 11 tons per head here in Germany, for example. And I think we're number 3 in the world. Okay, we are producing a lot of cars and a lot of goods. We are exporting them. But the climate change itself will happen somewhere else, as I said, in Africa and South America. But these poor people, which can't help themselves, they will try to go somewhere else. And the biggest problem I see, and the United Nations see in the climate report, that these people will go somewhere else, and they will go to the places where life is beautiful, where the people are very rich. And I would say Europe or Germany and Switzerland and all these places are very rich places. And we saw this already in 2016, where roughly 2 million people came from Syria here to, and from some places to here. And we said, wow, this is too much. But the United Nations report says that roughly 500 million people will lose their lands, their homes, their homelands in the next 50 years, 500 million. And 1/3 of these people will come to Europe. That means there's roughly 150 million people from poor countries, extreme poor people will try to, or will come here to the existing 500 million people. That means 1/3 of the population will be added on because of climate change. Climate change is not here, it's somewhere else, but where it is, the people will come here. And this will create the very big problems for every one of us here, especially to our children. So they will fight for work, they will fight for food, they will fight for living spaces. All social systems will collapse. This is already clear. Civil wars in Europe will appear. So what we have to do today is that we have to avoid that global warming appears, that it's coming up. Not so much here, but there. you know.
Yeah.
So, and with my method, I mean, it's not a system what we are, I mean, it's a system, but we are not selling technology. We are planners and consultants. That mean we help the large brands, or even each and every company, to reduce their energy consumption and the carbon emissions. What they can do, they print money with our method, and they make the planet a better place, and helping the people that they can stay there where they are, and that we don't get so much climate refugees, that we lower that number to a good number, or to a good level. This is
Yeah,
very
so that
important.
yeah, absolutely. So that we create beautiful places for people where they are, to avoid this movement of refugees and the whole collapse of social system, economic system. And I think that I would like to thank you for your for sharing your insights on the project, on the technology, and primarily on your mission and why you're doing what you're doing. And I think that it's important to develop this longer term vision for everyone, for the whole community, and apply the technology that help us save the planet.
Yes, Yelena. And the major thing is that people are open, that they understand that a very bad situation may come there in the future, and then that we have to do something right now. It's easy, it's smart, and it's very profitable. And this is, I'm inviting everyone to listen, or to understand, or to talk to us, and even to understand what we are doing, which will help them to generate a very nice impact on their cost, on their expenses, which are much more lowered, and the impact on the world.
Okay. How can people connect with you?
I mean, the first thing, they may come to the website, and which is, can I say it here?
Yes, you can say it here.
It's clear-light.de. Or, I mean, if you Google clear light, lighting, then you will find it. We will post it, I think, in the description here, and then you can get in contact with us. You can Google us, you will find us immediately, and yeah, get in contact. We will support you.
No, they can also connect with you here on the this as you will be mentioned in the post, and they connect to you directly and ask questions. I'm sure they're gonna have lots of questions, like when you went to a meeting with a group of people from the company.
Yes,
Thank you again, Nicholas, and I would like to thank our audience for staying with us, and we will come back with a new episode. So stay tuned to upcoming episodes of Insight Tomorrow. Thank you. Bye bye.
thank you very much. Bye bye.